Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are having an excellent day today. For this week's video, we're going to be comparing a Line 6 Helix versus a traditional guitar amp. Let's check it out. So a while back, I did a comparison between bias effects and my full amp setup, which is like my amp and my extension cabinet, multiple mics, recorded in stereo, pedal board, and all that stuff. And we basically talked about, the effort it takes to mic up a system like that versus just plugging straight into your computer and into bias effects, and how convenient that was. So it was an interesting comparison. I think a lot of people still really enjoyed the traditional amp sound, but the convenience of something like bias effects is huge. So today we're going to talk about the Line 6 Helix and some of the advantages and disadvantages to a system like that. All right, so let's do a quick gear rundown for today's video so you guys know what I'm going to be using and how it's going to affect our comparison. All right, first up is the guitar and of course the source of our signal. Now we've got a 2017 American Professional Telecaster Deluxe. Very cool guitar. A little bit snappier than a Les Paul, but definitely thicker than a traditional Telecaster. I did a comparison between like a classic single coil Tele versus this. So if you're interested in seeing that, I'll put a link to that above. But yeah, very cool guitar. And we'll be using all three pickup positions for our comparison today. All right, the output from the guitar is going to be sent straight into our splitter box. This is the Raspberry branch from Flavors Audio Design. Great little splitter. And this is just going to ensure that the exact same signal goes to the amp and to the Helix. So it doesn't matter my pick attack or my pick position or my phrasing or my articulation, whatever. It's going to be identical in both units. All right, on the amp side, from the splitter box, we're going to go straight into the pedal board. We're going to bypass most of my pedals and we're going to play clean, first of all, for you guys. And then when we need overdrive and higher distortion, we're going to use the 87 from Lawrence Petros design. I've had this pedal for a few weeks, loving it. It's super versatile. And I can really dial in great tones no matter the gain stage. So great pedal, so we'll use this one. And let's check out the Helix. All right, from the splitter box, we're going to head over to the Helix Lt. Now the Lt is the baby brother to the full Helix, but the audio engine is the same, so they're identical in terms of sound. Now I have this up on an amp stand next to my mixing desk, so I can reach it with my hand, which is the way I like to use it. And we've got 4 amps. We've got a matchless, we've got a Fender, we've got a Marshall, and then a higher gain one that we're not going to use today. So, and then underneath I just have stomp boxes on or off. So I have low gain, solo, delay on or off, and an atmospheric reverb, but you can assign whatever you want to these foot switches, any sort of pedal. So that's why I like this one. It's just very simple to use. You have tap tempo, you've got volume, you've got wah, all at your fingertips, and it sounds really good. So from the Helix, then we're just gonna go into the sound card and off we go. All right, so that's our gear rundown. Let's get on to the fun stuff. Let's hear the playing comparison. All right, our first sound comparison is going to be a clean tone on the Tele. We're going to use the neck pickup, and on the Helix, it's going to be like the Fender clean tone, and on the Blue Angel, it's going to be like the Fender tube sound, whatever that means. And I'm going to record it dry, so you're not going to be able to tell the spring reverb on the amp versus like the digital reverb on the Helix. I'm going to try to make it harder, and so any sort of effects will be added afterwards and the same across the board. So here we go, let's take a listen. All right, are you guys ready for the reveal? Amp number 1 was the Helix and amp number 2 was the Mesa Boogie. All right, for sound comparison number 2, we're gonna stay in the neck pickup on the Tele and we're gonna use a little slight breakup tone. So on the Helix, we're gonna go over to the matchless one, which is one of the better patches. I think the matchless amp sounds really good. And then for the Mesa Boogie, we'll just, hit the front end with 87 drive that I was showing you guys earlier, and let's check it out. All right, so our results for test number 2 here. Amp number 1 was the Mesa Boogie, and amp number 2 then, of course, was the Helix. All right, for sound demo number 3, we are going to do some classic rock crunch. So on the Helix Lt, we're going to head over to our Marshall amp, and on the Mesa Boogie, we're going to dial that progressive link up to our Marshall type tubes and see what that sounds like. Let's check it out. All right, let's check out the results. Amp number 1 was the Helix, and amp number 2 was the Mesa Boogie. All right, for comparison number 4, we're going to click the Telecaster into the middle position so both humbuckers are engaged, and we're just going to do some light arpeggios for you guys, clean again, so you can really hear the differences. And let's check out the results. Amp number 1 was the Helix, and amp number 2 was the Blue Angel. For comparison number 5, I wanted to do something that you guys could really hear the dynamics and the sustain of each platform. So what we're going to do is start off kind of clean and dig in until the amps break up, and then listen to them sustain. So let's check that out. All right, let's check out the results. Amp number 1 was the Blue Angel, and amp number 2 was the Helix. For our final comparison, we're going to do a short 1-minute jam, and I'm going to be switching back and forth between the Helix and the Blue Angel phrase by phrase. So only a few seconds at a time, you guys will hear the sounds bouncing back and forth between the two platforms, and let's see how they sit in a mix. All right, let's check it out. All right, so some final thoughts on these two platforms. For me, the amp almost always sounds good in any situation with any amount of gain, clean, dirty, just broken up. The amp just sounds like an amp, and I think it sounds good. The Helix sounded really great to me too, especially on some of the clean patches. I think I could work on some of the dirty patches to make it sound a little bit closer to the amp. I mean, you can go into all the menus and tweak it till your heart's desire. But the reason I got the Helix, again, over like Kemper or Axe Effects, is it's just easy to use. So I could set up my custom patches really quickly, and although I didn't match it up perfectly to the amp, I think if a person wanted to, they could get very close. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this comparison. Let me know in the comments below which amp you thought sounded best. If you were always able to guess the tube amp, or if you got the Helix mixed up, that would be a good indicator that it sounds almost as good. And of course, you can plug the Helix in at 2 in the morning and not bug anybody. So anyway, let me know which one you guys thought sounded best. We'll see you guys next week with a new video. My information will be on the screen right now. You can sub to the channel by clicking right here. And other than that, have a great day, you guys. We'll see you next time. Take care.